Today we're transforming some ugly motel art that I found for $10 at my local Habitat store into a family message center that will help you organize back to school activities, summer camps, whatever time of the year it is. This is going to help you keep your whole family on track. So these were a very hideous gold. And if you go into any thrift store, it doesn't have to be a Habitat thrift store, you're going to find ugly 80s gold frames. The thing to watch for is don't buy the metal ones. They really don't have any interest in terms of trim, and they don't hold paint very well. They scratch really easily back down to the ugly gold metal. So stay away from metal and look for wood. Also, look for wood that has some glass. And I'll show you why in a minute. We're going to start here with this one, which I turned into a whiteboard and bulletin board. I did that by painting the frame first with a primer. Now, this Rust-Oleum says it's a paint and primer in one, and it's high gloss. And for a project like this, I love the look of high gloss. If you're taking something that has an interesting trim and making it new, go high gloss. It's a fantastic look. But this costs $7 a can, and the primer costs $3.40 a can. So even though it says it's paint and primer in one, to me that just means it's a thicker, heavier paint, and I want to use it for my final coat. But I'm still going to use the primer until I get that gold really well covered, so that I'm not using up all my expensive paint on my undercoats. So take everything out of your frame, whatever hideous art came in it, recycle it, set your glass aside, keep your cardboard. Now I took the cardboard then, so here's my cardboard that came out of, I don't know, this one I guess, because it has the foam core behind it now. Take the cardboard with you. It's the exact size you need. You don't even have to measure. Take it to your local Michael's Arts and Crafts or wherever you can find foam core that's larger than your frame. Take it to the framing department and ask them to cut you a piece of foam core in this exact size. The reason we're not going to use the cardboard is for the message part, if you want to have the bulletin board part, it's really hard. Well, of course now that's going to go in super easy. But in general, cardboard does not take pins as easily. You got to push a little harder. Okay, so good. Good example. Now I can't get it to work. Hooray. So you want the foam core because it'll go nicely into that. If in fact you're going to do the entire thing as a whiteboard, it doesn't really matter. Now I found these fantastic things at Michael's. Use your 50% off coupon because they're $20 a book if you don't, but I got them for $10 a book each because I had a friend with me and we each had a coupon. One of them is a book of whiteboard pages. So they're literally like a scrapbook kind of page. And I cut it to size. I divvied these up in thirds, cut it to size, and just glued it down with a glue stick. I did 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom. You could do whatever arrangement you want of pinboard, whiteboard parts. Then, the same company, so these are made, they're called stacks. These are burlap colors, these are whiteboard. They also have chalkboard ones. Why bother? You get chalkboard dust all over everything. Whiteboard, way to go. These came in great colors. I've used most of them, as you can see here. I just have a few left. They're individual squares of burlap that I just cut out. Now, of course, you can go to the fabric store and do that, but these are perfectly ironed and pressed, and they're nice colors and the right size, so why not? So I just used, again, the glue stick to stick down my burlap. Now, I will be honest with you, I did not do the best job because I was building this to show you in a hurry and I've got some bubbles. So I actually need to pull mine up and do another coat under there and maybe press it down with a book and keep it nice and flat until those dry. Then, from my local hardware store, I picked up something called screen molding. Screen molding is 3/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. And I spray painted long lengths of it first. And then I have a chop saw, so I cut it to size. If you don't have a saw at home, this is so small you could do it with a hand saw, but you can measure and have them cut it for you at Home Depot. It's just a little tricky because you're going to have the vertical ones going first, and then you have to take the measurement, divide it by 3, subtract out your 2. It gets a little tricky. I'll write down all the math over at the blog, yesspaces.com. Don't forget to subscribe over there because you get instructions, photos, and a product list. So you don't have to take notes about any of this or come back here. You can see it all step by step over on the blog. So once I had these painted, again, I primed them and then high gloss painted them. I cut the long ones to length first and hot glued them down. Then I measured each section and cut those accordingly. Then, all it takes, and of course because mine are not like perfectly centered, I want to make sure I get the right one in the right place. There we go. I suppose the pink threads on the back of this should have been the giveaway that this is the one from the pink bulletin board. Yeah, bulletin board, cork board, whatever you want to call it, fabric board. And there you have it. It just makes a nice window pane fabric. You could use some other ribbon dividers, but this is cleaner, neater. I just think it's sharper altogether. Then I use these plaques from Michaels and laser cut letters. They have initials that you can get in multiple sizes, any letter in the alphabet, and I just put first initials for each of your children. So they have a section, they can put their pictures, they can put whatever they want there. You can write their notes, their chores, whatever they have to do. Great. Then what I love about this is I got 2 in identical sizes. So my second one back here is a weekly family calendar. And for it, I actually removed the back part and then glued these squares down behind the glass. I'm using the glass as my whiteboard. So for here, you do the same thing, cut 9 squares, figure out your pattern, cut out your long ones first, glue them on, and then go around and measure and attach your shorter lengths. Because you have 9 squares and there are 7 days of the week, and we did the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have 2 extras. So I use my extra like as maybe a manner or something I want them to think of in the week. So this one's say please and thank you. You can also use any of these fun decorative items that Michaels has along with their laser cut letters. I spray painted, I primed and painted these at the same time that I did the screen molding. And for some reason, these little balsa wood babies take a number of coats. They really do before you get the clean white. And then you can just write on these and they erase away super, super easily. The only last little detail I would share with you is that I made some push pins. These fun buttons were in the dollar bin at Michael's. A dollop of hot glue on the head of a thumbtack, and you have a fun pin that will tie in with your decor. These are the same pins that we used in the art center. If you watched that, you can use anything fun that you like to make your pins. It's a great way to organize your family. I will show you. I did not put this in the final shot for you. I didn't end up using it, but this is something that I picked up at Goodwill, and it was dark brown. I'm sure you've seen these. Ballard's Design, Pottery Barn has had these. Just removing the hardware and spray painting it the glossy white. You can see how, like in a back hall with your coats and whatever, if you have this lined up with your cork board, you have everything you need. Papers, permission forms, whatever needs to be handled for your kids goes all on this one wall. So I hope this helps you feel a little bit more organized. Let's take a look at it in place.